Home isn't just a place, it's a feeling that you're safe to enjoy the things that matter most. ADT lets you take that feeling with you. Whether you're at home, your business, or online, we help keep you safe. With security systems, home automation, alarms, and surveillance, so you can feel at home wherever you are. Go to ADT.com to get that feeling for less than $1 a day. ADT. Home. Safe home.
This is the Best of Mike and Mike podcast. Subscribe now by going to the Listen tab in the ESPN app.
The Best of Mike and Mike.
It is Mike and Mike here on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Stugotz Mike Golic Jr. with you on Labor Day. Good morning, Mike Golic Jr.
Stugotz.
Yes.
Good to see you up in Bristol. How? Why?
They asked me to do a show in September and not November or December, and so therefore...
Good point.
Therefore, I'm up here doing it. How? Like, you asked that, like, was that a how, like, you were invited back to do this show because you screwed it up so badly last time, or just how, like, why is a guy from South Beach coming up to Bristol, Connecticut?
Pretty much, yeah. How are they able to drag you up here, what I'm guessing was against your will, on a holiday that you could have had off? Like, you were defying so many of the Stugotzian fraudcasting school principles by working on a holiday in a place that you don't live.
That's a very good point. How about this holiday, Labor Day? Is it a... Because I believe that Labor Day is the most conflicting of all the holidays. It's a confusing holiday. Does Labor Day make you happy or sad?
Oh, sad. So last night I was at like a Labor Day barbecue.
Right.
And I realized at the end of the meal, this meal signifies that summer is technically over.
Correct.
Like, this is like a funeral. It's terrible.
A funeral? That bad?
Yeah, it's the end of summer. Like, the only plus is that I did have like the fall chills moment the other day.
Right.
Where I was walking home and I looked inside the door and I saw college football was on TV and I got a light breeze and I was wearing a hoodie and I realized, oh my God, fall football is here. That part was great, but the death of summer sad.
It is. It's
You're right. It's conflicting.
It is. It's the most conflicting of all the holidays. I really believe that because listen, Thanksgiving, right? You get off that Thursday, essentially Wednesday. You're done for the week.
Yep.
And it's a feel-good holiday, and you're with family. You're watching football on Thursday. You're watching some football on Friday. You're eating a lot, which we all know you and your family like to do.
Yep. Relax the waistband.
Right. Christmas, Hanukkah, impossible for that not to be fun. But Labor Day is kind of one of those conflicting holidays where you get the Monday off. That's the good thing. The bad thing is, you're right. It's the end of summer. Kids are going back to school. I always I remember growing up feeling depressed on Labor Day. I mean, you get to 45, Mike, you just stop caring. Okay, one day bleeds into another.
Yeah, no, you stopped caring about a lot of things a long time ago.
You stop caring about just about everything, with the exception of work and and stuff like that. But you stop caring.
That's an exception.
Yeah, I don't care about work either. So, but yes, it's a conflicting holiday from this standpoint. You have the Monday off. That's the good thing. The bad thing is, Tuesday is school. Real life starts again. The summer's over. It's really, when you break it down, it's not that conflicting. It's just a depressing holiday.
Yeah, no. So happy Labor Day, everybody. Hope you're enjoying it wherever you are. Get ready for the Monday scaries this week. We pushed them off a night, but they're still coming.
Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests appear on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. You can tweet us anytime through the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. It is at Stugotz790, at M. Golic Jr. 57. Mike, let's get it rolling here with Off the Top. Now, they have left me to my own devices here.
Yeah.
I have the Greeny soundboard open here. I am terrified of the Greeny soundboard. I'm just going to hit buttons left and right the entire morning here. I don't care if they make sense or not. I'm just going to hit buttons. Like, that's what I'm going to do. Let's try. Should we try one out right now?
Yeah, let's
Brooks
go.
is freaking out.
Go ahead and fire this bad boy up.
Well, what are we supposed to do right now? We're supposed to do Off the Top?
Off the top, yeah. Go ahead.
Let's see if I have the right pad here. Hold on. Give me a second. Hold on.
Close.
Nope. All right. Let me try this. Is that it?
No, we're getting there.
All right, let me try this.
It's time for At the Mics.
No.
But we're at Mics. You and I are at the Mics. There's Off the Top. There it is.
Wow, they took control from you.
Brooks, did you hit that?
Yep.
You hit that for me?
Oh,
No. Give me
Brooks.
Brooks, listen to me right now. Hembo, are you communicating with Brooks right now?
I can.
You tell him. Has he cut off me being able to use the soundboard?
Off the top.
You stop hitting that button, Brooks. You stop right now.
Hit it again.
Off the top.
Hembo, are you communicating with him?
I can.
You tell him to stop hitting that button,
Sure thing.
and I want access to this board again. Tell him right now.
The top.
Brooks, let me try to hit it.
Off the top.
Yeah.
The remix.
The remix version. Hold
Yeah.
up. Brooks, let you and I hit it at the same exact time here, okay? 1, 2, 3.
Off the top.
Yeah. Look at Herm Edwards.
This is the remix.
Mike,
going well.
Before I get to off the top,
Yeah.
tell everyone, we're in the makeup room before the show. Herm Edwards comes strolling in. He's been up since 3 o'clock working out.
Oh, yeah.
Tell everyone what Herm Edwards said upon seeing us.
Oh, no. Oh, no. He almost turned around in the room. He immediately regretted coming in to do his hit this morning on what was at one time a prestigious flagship program for ESPN that we have now commandeered road freight train to hell.
Win the game.
Off the top.
All right, GoJo down 34 points in the third quarter. I went to sleep last night. I thought this game was over. UCLA rallied to beat Texas A&M and complete the second largest comeback in FBS history. Bruins quarterback Josh Rosen, who sits at number 3 on Mel Kiper Jr.'s 2018 big board. The Jets' offensive line. Oh, that poor kid. He'll be playing behind that line next year. He threw for 491 yards, including 292 yards, 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter of last night's game. UCLA comes back to win that game. Mike, your thoughts?
I got something later for a lot of Josh Rosen haters that were out early in full force last night, because that kid was getting beat up all game last night going into that fourth quarter. He has very little help out there, if any, and he still made it happen. On 3rd and 7, down 44-10 with under 4 minutes left in the third, UCLA had a .33% chance to win. It's the 5th most improbable comeback in a game involving Power 5 teams in the last 10 seasons. Take that one.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible what happened. I went to sleep. That's happened to you before, right? You go to sleep thinking your game's over. You wake up, you're like, what?
I was exhausted last night.
Yeah.
I looked down, and I had been on the Josh Rosen bandwagon all
Sure.
preseason, defending this kid, saying that this is prime for a comeback season because he was injured at the end of last year. People wanted to hate coming off all his comments about school, and he just let them all have it.
Rosen was in the zone, and it's brought to you by AutoZone. Drive the new Duralast GT brake pads, proven tough from the tracks to the streets, and sold only at AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. It's kind of interesting because I was thinking last night as Rosen's having that bad game, many of the big-time quarterbacks, the quarterback that Mel's talking about, that are going the top 10 next year in the NFL draft, they didn't get off to a good start. None of the guys.
No, it was
except for Josh Rosen, who in the fourth quarter last night kind of fixed that.
In the hot seat bowl, by the way, Jim Mora and Kevin Sumlin both sitting there before the game, basically waiting to let the win or losses judged by 18 to 22-year-old kids govern the future of their employment. What a life.
All right, Stanzik, let's hit this one together. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Off the top.
Nice. The remix is better, is it not, Mike?
I tell you, people are clamoring for it.
Yes. Florida State quarterback DeAndre Francois will miss the rest of the season after suffering a patellar tendon injury Saturday against Alabama. Francois led all FBS freshmen in passing yards last season and entered the season at 15-1 to win the Heisman Trophy, tied for the 4th best odds according to the Westgate Las Vegas Superbook.
As a crushing blow for this team, and really at the end of what had been an evenly matched game for 3 quarters before a lot of special teams blunders on the part of Florida State ultimately led to their demise. That's a championship defense. The guys they've got on that side of the ball are just freakish, and for this blow to an offense that was already going to have trouble matching that for certain points this year, I don't know how they recover. The ACC is as wide open as we've seen it in a while.
Yeah, a lot of it sounds crazy, but this is the reality. A lot of teams in the ACC, the Hurricanes, teams like that, I don't want to say excited that he got injured, but certainly opens up the door for them to go out and win the ACC.
They can't control him getting injured. You're right, crushing for him personally. I was on teams back-to-back. One of my best friends playing quarterback tore his ACL tore his knee up Halloween weekend in consecutive seasons.
Right.
And it has an unbelievable effect on the dynamic of your team. But if you're Florida State, this is kind of the time for it to happen. You have time to break in whoever the backup is going to be. I believe it's a true freshman or redshirt freshman quarterback behind him. So going to have a lot of growing pains.
Mike and Mike is presented by Progressive Insurance. Our guest list today, Herm Edwards, 6:30, Phil Steele at 7 o'clock, Albert Breer at 8, and Booger McFarland at 9 o'clock. All phone guests join us via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. If you miss any of those guests, you can listen to all 4 hours of Mike and Mike on demand in the ESPN app. Mike, you know what's going to happen with this injury to DeAndre Francois is a lot of people, because there was discussion leading into the weekend, do you want big games like this to start the season? Florida State, Alabama. Listen, what happened to him against Alabama going to happen to him against any single team, but you're starting to hear it already. That's why you don't play Alabama week 1 of the regular season.
Well, I thought we were going down the same path last night with Josh Rosen and UCLA because it was the same level of hits. We saw DeAndre Francois take a pounding last year for Florida State, and Alabama's defense better predicated to do that than most, but we're doing the same thing. We're beating him up that whole game, and it just happened to be one bad hit to end it. I was scared we were going to have the same thing with Rosen last night, the amount of contact that was getting made with him. It's
interesting because people are going to praise Rosen, like myself, who fell asleep and didn't watch the end of that game.
Oh, yeah.
Texas A&M's defense was dreadful. Quarterback got hurt. Defense was dreadful. Like, you'll see those stats. You'll see the big numbers he put up, especially in the fourth quarter. He had a couple of passes that went right through Texas A&M quarterback's hands and was completed by UCLA, and they brought it in for a touchdown. But there was some luck involved with that last night. It wasn't like he was throwing darts all over the field.
No,
the defense was dreadful for Texas A&M.
Listen, to come back down 34 points or 33 points, whatever it ended up being, you're going to need a little bit of luck.
Yes. I mean, imagine going to sleep thinking you had that game covered, by the way.
Oh, thoughts and prayers with that community, by the way.
Off the top.
I did it right there. How about that? All right, Golic, the Indians swept the Tigers to extend their win streak to 11 games. Tim Kirchin told me all year, that the Indians were the best team in the American League. And he said, just be patient, just wait. And we've been patient. We've waited, and he was right, of course. They extended their winning streak to 11 games, tied for the longest streak by any team this season. Over in the National League, the Diamondbacks swept the Rockies to extend their win streak to 10 games, including 8 straight, where they haven't trailed. From Elias, the Diamondbacks are the second team since 2005 to go 8 straight games without trailing, joining the Indians, who did it in July.
And sticking with the Indians on that note, starting pitching for them during the win streak been the key. They've gone 6 straight games where their starters allowed 1 or fewer runs, and their starters have an MLB best 1.39 ERA during that win streak. So, Tom coming through with the prophecy.
Yeah, Tom Kirchin is coming through with the prophecy. How many people are going to blast us for calling Tim Kirchin Tom?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just waiting for it on Twitter. I mean, I'm going to check the mentions. Yes, well, you're counting on it, right? Yes. Are you going to respond to any of them?
I'm poking the bear. No, of course not.
I think the Indians are the best team in the American League.
Yeah, I listen, you're not going to get any argument from me, certainly not from this show when Dad gets back in the seat. He'll be the first one to take credit for a streak that he has no idea is even going on right now.
That's why I love him.
Off the top.
All right, Mike, get prepared here. Hembo, strap in, boys. I'm telling you, they gave me a tough name to pronounce here.
Oh, boy.
Mike, you might have to pronounce it. Do you have the same sheet of paper that I have in front of you there?
Yep.
All right. You'll know when to fill in here, okay? Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer continue their collision course to meet in the U.S. Open semifinals as each is in the round of 16 on Monday. Nadal takes on unseeded Ukrainian Alexander. Go ahead, Mike.
Dolgopolov. Excuse me, I didn't see the last part of that.
Yes. Dolgopolov.
There it is. Yeah.
And can pick up his 50th career match win at the U.S. Open. And Federer takes on, give me a break, Philippe Kohlschreiber. Did I get that right? Did I get it right? Against whom? Well, Hembo, did I get it right? All right.
Philip, right?
Yeah, Philip.
Philip.
How do you feel about that?
Philip.
Yes, Philip.
I think I love it.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Would you rather be called Philip or Philip?
There's a lot of Philips in the world, man. There's only one Philip, and I just met him.
Yeah, you're right. Well, you didn't actually meet him, but
close enough.
Okay. Philip Kohlschreiber, against whom Federer is a perfect 11-0 in his career. Nadal, Federer, especially Federer, still getting it done. Mike.
The two names that everyone will actually know in that reading were the ones we spent the least amount of time talking about.
Correct.
Go figure.
Philip.
I'm
looking for. I think that's Friday night, right? If they meet up, Nadal and Federer.
Yes. Yeah, which is.
I have a bat mitzvah on Friday night. I'm a little upset by that.
I had a wedding this weekend during all of the college football action, so I can sympathize with your place in this. Just have the watch app ready. It'll take care of you, company man.
You are a company man. Jeez, that was very
Off the top.
I can't sit at a bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, just standing in the corner watching the ESPN app.
That's why you can walk out and go to the bathroom or something.
I say I can't do that. You know, I've done that like 1,000 times.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yes,
I mean, I figure that 90% of what I'm getting on here is just a lie that I'm gonna have to parse my way through, which is fine. I speak Stugotz at this point.
I did it at my daughter's bat mitzvah. That was Off the Top, presented by Progressive Insurance. We'll compare rates for you so you get the best deal, even if not with us, saving you time and money. That's Progressive. Call or click today. Mike and Mike reminding you can watch and listen to your favorite games. GoJo, very well done.
Hey.
And your favorite shows on the ESPN app. It is simple, it is easy, and it keeps you connected. Take ESPN with you everywhere, including bar and bat mitzvahs. Download the ESPN app now. Golic was thinking about this over the weekend. Herm Edwards going to join us coming up in about 15 minutes, but was thinking about this over the weekend. Alabama. Is it possible we're arriving at a place where Alabama might be considered bad for college football? Because it seems like before the season starts, what's the main complaint you get about the NBA?
Golden State and
Cleveland. The regular season is meaningless. We know the two teams that are going to meet up in the NBA Finals. Is it fair to say that it seems like every year we go into the season knowing one of the Final Four teams is going to be Alabama? And I'm wondering if there's Alabama fatigue and if people are starting to get tired of the University of Alabama and its football program.
I'm sure part of that – I'm sure people are. Now, part of the reason why I don't really care, I don't have the fatigue, is I enjoy seeing people get beat by Alabama the way I got beat because it makes it seem less bad for when it happened to me. But for the rest of that, I'd agree in college football that the playoff has started to become a lot of the same names. And the way I look at it is this. Alabama seems the most bulletproof of this bunch right now. So I'm rooting for the Ohio States of the world, the Clemsons of the world, to maybe falter a little bit this year so we can get some of that new blood in the college football playoff. Because it's basically been Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, some combination of the two there, and then insert, a Michigan State, an Oklahoma, a Washington. So we just need a few more of those names to get mixed into the bunch, and Alabama's not going to be the one left out.
They're the only team that's made the CFP all 3 seasons. It's just like, for me, I don't know. I'm watching them play for Florida State. It's kind of a weird weekend in college football because the games that you expected to be exciting were not exciting. There were some exciting games, but the 2 games you really thought were going to be exciting, Alabama, Florida State, the Gators, and Michigan, were kind of dreadful, boring games, right? But I kind of was thinking about it over the weekend. Man, I'm just tired of this team. Like, just methodical and great and consistent every single year. They're going to be in the Final Four again this year, likely in the national championship game. They probably should have beat Clemson last year in the championship game. And I find myself getting tired of Alabama, its program, and Nick Saban. But I think a lot of people would argue they're good for college football. It doesn't matter. A dynasty is good for any sport.
Yeah, and I guess for me, I can't quit them, especially watching them on defense.
Right.
If you gave Alabama because Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback for what they're asked to do there.
Sure.
He's not a guy that I think is going to light up the stat sheet anytime through the air, which is, I think, a lot of people would change their opinion on Alabama if you could have a more of a dynamic passing attack, because we always hear about the boa constrictor with them on offense, the way they wear teams down, use that running game to grind teams, and then in the second half just sort of take over. That's not really sexy as a viewing product, but watch their defense and watch Minkah Fitzpatrick and watch these absolute cyborgs they've got on their defensive line. It is one of the most terrifying. Every year, they just lost Jonathan Allen. They bring back, Deron Payne is one of the few guys they bring back on that D-line, and it's a lot of new faces we're going to get to know, and they are all some of the most terrifying young men I've ever seen. And watch the way they play defense compared to the rest of the way college football plays defense is startling.
Well, what's the difference there? What are you saying there? Like, what are they doing differently?
Athleticism at every position. When you look, especially in the back end, Minkah Fitzpatrick's the name I bring up. When you look at what they're able to do with the amount of athleticism they've got at every position, because most places, if you've got great DBs, it can help mitigate what is a less than stellar pass rush. You've got a great pass rush, you can cover up on the back end. They don't need to do any of that, so they can disguise things. They can send in multiple packages. They can play this more closely to its NFL counterpart than most college defenses can. College, a gross disparity in the talent department from the Sunday product, which is why usually it turns a lot of people who are Sunday fans off. No. If you like NFL football, you'll love watching Alabama and Florida State's defense. Watch them all year. That is a stellar group.
Mike, who are some of the teams? And listen, I understand what you're saying. For me, I don't know. I'd like to see some different teams in the Final Four, and my fear is Alabama's just going to be there every single year. It's a tribute. Here's the biggest Mike, here's the most impressive thing that Nick Saban has done with that program. Go ahead. Name the great quarterback that he's had during this run. Name a single great quarterback that he's had. Because quarterback, the most important position in sports. We all know that. Certainly at the NFL level, it is the most important position. Nick Saban's been able to go on this run without a quarterback who's been successful at all in the NFL. Maybe A.J. McCarron's been the most successful quarterback he's had during this run.
It's almost been a throwaway position. This is the first time since 2013 they've even returned a starter at quarterback, had the same guy come back, and it was one who started as a true freshman for them last year, and in his own ways rewrote a lot of the Alabama records. What he's able to do, especially his component on the ground as part of their ground game, is the difference for that team on offense. Like, they've got great running backs and they've got a great offensive line, and Calvin Ridley at wide receiver is going to be that next sort of dynamic guy, maybe not into the top end production we've seen from some of the Alabama wide receivers as of late, but he's got that deep threat for him. Jalen Hurts in their run game is going to be the reason they contend for a title again this year.
It's it's interesting though that he's been able to do this with basically with great skill position players. He's had great running backs. He's had great wide receivers. He's had great guys on defense. We know that. He's been able to do it without quarterbacks. Well, yeah. And the one team that beat him was Deshaun Watson, who was a great college quarterback. It's
the irony that's the exact thing that beats them pretty much every time. If Alabama gets beat, it's by the same mold of quarterback, right? A guy who's an accurate passer but can move around, can beat you enough with his legs to make things interesting. It's the exact thing that Alabama's never really had at that position. You could argue maybe gets a little closer now with Jalen Hurts, but again, until the passing attack develops to the level of some of those other guys, I kind of separated a bit.
Wondering if this surprises you, as the guys put it up on the board for me. In each of Alabama's title-winning seasons under Nick Saban, his quarterbacks didn't receive a single Heisman vote.
I mean, the last two non-quarterback winners of the Heisman are both Alabama running backs. It was Derrick Henry and Mark Ingram.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, just incredible.
That's
incredible.
That's the way they've built it. It's the machine going in Tuscaloosa, and it's not coming off the rails anytime soon.
The best of Mike and Mike.
It is Mike and Mike here on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Albert Breer going to be there in a half hour, 8:05 Eastern. We'll have Booger McFarland at 9:05. We'll get to what game is it that we're playing here coming up, Mike? Is it over-under? Is it next question? Because I love Mike and Mike. What I love about Mike and Mike is they play it's just the same game, three different ways with different titles. It's true or false. It's fill in the blank. It's off the top. It's really just the same game. I'm peeling back the curtain here, and I'm letting you see what goes on in Mike and Mike. They're all the same game.
It's because the money coming in is all green.
Yeah.
Mike and Mike.
Yes.
On the rise?
Yes. Yeah.
Printing
Put it on the poll. Are Mike and Mike on the rise?
Printing money.
Yeah. Put it on the poll, please. Are Mike and Mike on the rise? At Mike and Mike on Twitter. Is Mike Golic Jr. on the rise? 57% of the audience says yes. You are on the rise.
I voted no.
Okay. So did I. Is Tom Brady on the rise? That's a funny question. 59% of the audience said no.
I disagree with that. I think Tom Brady's always on the rise.
It's debatable.
I think he's been on the rise. He hasn't stopped rising yet.
Yes. It's right. He's still rising.
He's still rising.
Yes. At some point he's going to go the other way, right?
That's kind of the debate we're talking about.
Do you think when I'm dead, long after I'm dead, Tom Brady will still be throwing for 45 touchdowns and winning Super Bowls?
Somewhere, maybe not in the NFL, but somewhere.
I'll tell you as a Jet fan, just get out of my life. Just get out of my life, please. Does Labor Day weekend make you happy or sad? 61% of the audience said happy.
Wow.
Makes me sad. You know what? What it is? That's parents voting because their kids are going back to school. That's it.
That's why I figured it would make you happy.
Yeah, your kids have been home for 2 weeks. No, my kids are already back at school in South Florida. They've been back for a while. Yeah, so I've been happy for a while.
So this today doesn't do anything.
These are parents who picked up their kids from camp 2 weeks ago. They're already sick of their kids, and now they want them to go back to school. So those are the people who are voting. It's a happy day for them. They get a Monday off, and their kids tomorrow going back to school. I'm telling you, that's what it is.
Labor Day means you have to actually come back to work soon because it is the fall, and so it is thus a sad time for you.
Is Stugotz on the rise? 60% of the audience said no. That's where I like it. That's where I want to be.
Hey,
right there.
Listen, I was going to say, I don't like, please, if I can skew the vote at all, I don't like this.
Right. Okay.
Because if I'm on the rise, that means people are going to start expecting things from me. And a long time ago, you told me that this is all about managing expectations. Right. And I really need to keep those low. Dad's great. Keep expecting a lot out of him. He's been doing this a long time. He's a professional. Just keep looking at me as the nepotism case. Put me over in my corner here, and I'll be happy to thrive in my own little world.
Okay, listen, man. I love you. I don't care about the nepotism stuff. You get here how you get here. Everyone has their own path, and your path is through your dad. And I'm good with that. I'm fine with that,
It's a great path.
Yeah, it's a great path. I mean, listen, you never had to do some of the stuff that all these guys are doing here that I had to do.
Yep.
Overnight board hopping and all that stuff. You never had to do it, but who cares, man?
Yeah.
You get here how you get here, and that's it. I mean, I always say the lazy river, you let the river take you where it takes you. You just let life take you where it takes you. And your life is taking you right here because your dad's a big star.
Yep. No, listen, the lazy river took me directly to the walk-up pool bar.
Yep. Congratulations to
Great.
you. We're going to do our next question in a second. Hembo's going to read us the questions. We're going to give our answers here. But, Hembo, what happened to you in the cafeteria? You went to get some oatmeal, and what'd you get?
We had a breakfast snafu this morning.
Yeah, what happened?
So every morning,
Yes.
one of the perks of working on Mike and Mike, free breakfast provided to the staff. An enormous luxury.
Mm-hmm.
They bring it over on a cart, too.
Correct.
They have to go nowhere for this.
And it's warm.
Wow.
And I every day get warm oatmeal with raisins. This morning, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
That is a bowl of marinara sauce.
It is a bowl of cold marinara sauce.
Are there raisins in it?
They put the raisins on the side.
They did. Oh, so nothing like marinara sauce with a side of raisins.
That's what I always say.
Put it on the poll. Is there nothing like marinara sauce with a side of raisins? Put that on the poll.
I get it. It's the holiday crew,
Yeah.
and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but this is probably not going to go eat unless you guys would like it.
How much money do I have to give you from my wallet for you to put the raisins in the marinara sauce and eat like a quarter of that bowl?
I'll do it for $20.
All right, I'll pay. I'll gladly pay you
$20?
$20.
I'm not doing next question until you do it. I'll throw in 20, and we're not doing next question, which is your time to shine. Okay?
Yeah, this is you.
Yeah, this is your time to shine. But
So raisins in the cold marinara sauce for
wait,
$20.
Hold on, let's establish this. And by the way, the thing that Mike and I think is funny that our producers don't, we'll do that at 8:30 because we weren't prepared for it.
Yep. In no way.
I'm just telling you.
We botched it all.
No one was.
It was
prepared
so
for
bad.
it. I want to make clear what the stakes are here.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
We need a minimum number of raisins consumed in all of this.
Okay.
By the way.
So $20 from you.
Yes.
$20 from me. He has to start doing it. Travis, are you throwing in $20? Oh, he's throwing in $5. Okay.
Okay. All right. We got another
All
$5.
right,
That's $45.
$45. None from the control room. Stanzik says nothing. He wants to get to next question already. Brooks is furious with me. Everyone is furious.
It's chaos.
Yes. We might not be invited back. In fact, did someone on Twitter kind of suggest that to us?
Yeah, at John Adelon says having run a radio station, Mike and Mike with Golic Jr. and Stugotz is hilarious. Might not get invited back, but that's not important.
Well, we don't care. But today we're hilarious, and I take that back. I do care. I want to be invited back here.
Oh yeah,
I love doing this.
This is the dream. This is you getting to drive the ship.
Yeah, this is the dream.
Mike and Mike, you come in, you get to sit in the chair. How's it feel, by the way?
Feels great.
You did a lot of adjusting in the chair. You made yourself taller today.
I did, yeah, because I look back. You and I have done this before. I look back and I looked very tiny next to you, and I needed to raise the chair. I mean, you're a lot taller than I am, but everyone's a lot taller than I am.
Yeah, no, I mean, blaming the chair for your posture is an interesting way to go about it, but
Right. Well, okay. We need to establish this. This is very important.
yeah, back to the important
Because now the show's been completely derailed, and that's where I like to be. I like it to be derailed. I like us to have no idea what's going to happen next. Hembo, we have $45 for you to eat the tomato sauce with a side of raisins. Now, you're going to dump the raisins in there.
You have to eat all the raisins.
Okay? You have to dump the raisins
Probably
in
about
there.
3 dozen raisins in this cup.
Okay. Do we want to tease this? Do you want to do it right now? You have 40 because I'm telling you, I'm not doing. I don't care. I'll sit here till 10. I'll sit here till tomorrow. Okay? I'm not doing next question until you eat all of your breakfast.
All right, let's tease it.
You want to
We'll
tease
come
it?
back with the guidelines, and then I'll go.
All right. You
All right.
excited?
I am excited. I want to see him eat all the raisins out of the marinara sauce, and I like the fact that it's marinara sauce, and that's bad enough, but he threw in there that it's actually cold compared to the warm oatmeal he's used to. that is somehow a factor in all of this. The heat of the marinara sauce is offensive to Hembo through everything else.
All right, coming up next, we'll see if we get to next question and if Hembo eats the marinara sauce with a side of raisins. But first, a word from AutoZone. What are we doing?
I'm not entirely sure.
We're having fun.
Defense?
This is how you have fun.
Yes.
Listen, everyone who does a show in the morning is how you have fun.
That's what you do.
Laugh a little, smile a little, have fun. You're doing sports radio for a living.
Don't plan for things. Push next. When in doubt, just push next question.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for Mike and Mike podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Home isn't just a place, it's a feeling. Whether you're at home, your business, or online, ADT helps keep you safe. With security systems, home automation, alarms, and surveillance, so you can feel at home wherever you are. Go to ADT.com to get that feeling. ADT, home, safe home.
It is Mike and Mike here on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Albert Breer going to be there in a half hour, 8:05 Eastern. We'll have Booger McFarland at 9:05. We'll get to what game is it that we're playing here coming up, Mike? Is it over-under? Is it next question? Because I love Mike and Mike. What I love about Mike and Mike is they play it's just the same game, 3 different ways with different titles. It's true or false. It's fill in the blank. It's off the top. It's really just the same game. I'm peeling back the curtain here, and I'm letting you see what goes on in Mike and Mike. They're all the same game.
It's because the money coming in's all green.
Yeah.
Mike and Mike.
Yes.
On the rise?
Yes. Yeah.
Printing
Put it on the poll. Are Mike and Mike on the rise?
Printing money.
Yeah. Put it on the poll, please. Are Mike and Mike on the rise? At Mike and Mike on Twitter. Is Mike Golic Jr. on the rise? 57% of the audience says yes. You are on the rise.
I voted no.
Okay. So did I. Is Tom Brady on the rise? That's a funny question. 59% of the audience said no.
I disagree with that. I think Tom Brady's always on the rise.
It's debatable.
I think he's been on the like he hasn't stopped rising yet.
Yes. It's right. He's still rising.
He's still rising.
Yes. At some point he's going to go the other way, right?
That's kind of the debate we're talking about.
Do you think when I'm dead, long after I'm dead, Tom Brady will still be throwing for 45 touchdowns and winning Super Bowls?
Somewhere, maybe not in the NFL, but somewhere.
I'll tell you as a Jet fan, just get out of my life. Just get out of my life, please. Does Labor Day weekend make you happy or sad? 61% of the audience said happy.
Wow.
Makes me sad. You know what? What it is? That's parents voting because their kids are going back to school. That's it.
That's why I figured it would make you happy.
Yeah, your kids have been home for 2 weeks. No. My kids are already back at school in South Florida. They've been back for a while. Yeah, so I've been happy for a while.
So this today doesn't do anything.
These are parents who picked up their kids from camp 2 weeks ago. They're already sick of their kids, and now they want them to go back to school. So those are the people who are voting. It's a happy day for them. They get a Monday off, and their kids tomorrow going back to school. I'm telling you, that's what it is.
Labor Day means you have to actually come back to work soon because it is the fall, and so it is thus a sad time for you.
Is Stugotz on the rise? 60% of the audience said no. That's where I like it. That's where I want to be.
Hey,
right there.
listen, I was going to say, I don't like, please, if I can skew the vote at all, I don't like this.
Right. Okay.
Because if I'm on the rise, that means people are going to start expecting things from me. And a long time ago, you told me that this is all about managing expectations. Right. And I really need to keep those low. Like, Dad's great. Keep expecting a lot out of him. He's been doing this a long time. He's a professional. Just keep looking at me as the nepotism case. Put me over in my corner here, and I'll be happy to thrive in my own little world.
Okay, listen, man. I love you. I don't care about the nepotism stuff. You get here how you get here. Everyone has their own path, and your path is through your dad. And I'm good with that. I'm fine with that.
It's a great path.
Yeah, it's a great path. I mean, listen, you never had to do some of the stuff that all these guys are doing here that I had to do.
Yep.
Overnight board hopping and all that stuff. You never had to do it, but who cares, man? You get here how you get here, and that's it. I mean, I always say the lazy river, you let the river take you where it takes you. You just let life take you where it takes you. And your life is taking you right here because your dad's a big star.
Yep. No, listen, the lazy river took me directly to the walk-up pool bar.
Yep. Congratulations to you. We're going to do our next question in a second. Hembo's going to read us the questions. We're going to give our answers here. But, Hembo, what happened to you in the cafeteria? You went to get some oatmeal, and what'd you get?
We had a breakfast snafu this morning.
Yeah, what happened?
So every morning,
yes,
one of the perks of working on Mike and Mike, free breakfast provided to the staff. An enormous luxury.
Mm-hmm. They bring it over on a cart, too.
Correct.
They have to go nowhere for this.
And it's warm.
Wow.
And I every day get warm oatmeal with raisins. This morning, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
That is a bowl of marinara sauce.
It is a bowl of cold marinara sauce.
Are there raisins in it?
They put the raisins on the side.
They did. Oh, so nothing like marinara sauce with a side of raisins.
That's what I always say.
Put it on the poll. Is there nothing like marinara sauce with a side of raisins? Put that on the poll.
I get it. It's the holiday crew,
Yeah.
and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but this is probably not going to go eat
Hembo,
unless you guys would like it.
how much money do I have to give you from my wallet for you to put the raisins in the marinara sauce and eat like a quarter of that bowl?
I'll do it for $20.
All right, I'll pay. I'll gladly pay
$20?
$20.
I'm not doing next question until you do it. I'll throw in 20, and we're not doing next question, which is your time to shine. Okay?
Yeah, this is you.
Yeah, this is your time to shine. But
So raisins in the cold marinara sauce for $20.
Hold on, let's establish this. And by the way, the thing that Mike and I think is funny that our producers don't, we'll do that at 8:30 because we weren't prepared for it.
Yep. In no way.
I'm just telling you.
We botched it all.
No one was.
It was
prepared
so
for
bad.
It. I want to make clear what the stakes are here.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
We need a minimum number of raisins consumed in all of this. By the way.
So $20 from you.
Yes.
$20 from me. He has to start doing it. Travis, are you throwing in $20? Oh, he's throwing in $5. Okay.
Okay. All right. We got another
All
$5.
right,
That's $45.
$45. None from the control room. Stanzik says nothing. He wants to get to next question already. Brooks is furious with me. Everyone is furious.
It's chaos.
Yes. We might not be invited back. In fact, did someone on Twitter kind of suggest that to us?
Yeah, at John Adelon says, having run a radio station, Mike and Mike with Golic Jr. and Stugotz is hilarious. Might not get invited back, but that's not important.
Well, we don't care. But today we're hilarious, and I take that back. I do care. I want to be invited back here.
Oh, yeah.
I love doing this show.
This is the dream. This is you getting to drive the ship.
Yeah, this is the dream.
Mike and Mike, you come in, you get to sit in the chair. How's it feel, by the way?
Feels great.
You did a lot of adjusting in the chair. You made yourself taller today.
I did, yeah, because I look back. You and I have done this before. I look back and I looked very tiny next to you, and I needed to raise the chair. I mean, you're a lot taller than I am, but everyone's a lot taller than I am.
Yeah, no, I mean, blaming the chair for your posture is an interesting way to go about it, but
right. Well, okay. We need to establish this. This is very important.
Yeah, back to the important
because
business.
now the show's been completely derailed, and that's where I like to be. I like it to be derailed. I like us to have no idea what's going to happen next. Hembo, we have $45 for you to eat the tomato sauce with a side of raisins. Now, you're going to dump the raisins in there.
You have to eat all the raisins.
Okay? You have to dump the raisins
Probably
in there.
about 3 dozen raisins in this cup.
Okay. Do we want to tease this? Do you want to do it right now? You have 40 because I'm telling you, I don't care. I'll sit here till 10. I'll sit here till tomorrow. Okay? I'm not doing next question until you eat all of your breakfast.
All right, let's tease it.
You want to
We'll
tease
come
it?
back with the guidelines, and then I'll go.
All right. You excited?
I am excited. I want to see him eat all the raisins out of the marinara sauce, and I like the fact that it's marinara sauce, and that's bad enough, but he threw in there that it's actually cold compared to the warm oatmeal he's used to. that is somehow a factor in all of this. The heat of the marinara sauce is offensive to Hembo through everything else.
All right, coming up next, we'll see if we get to next question and if Hembo eats the marinara sauce with a side of raisins. But first, a word from AutoZone. What are we doing?
I'm not entirely sure.
We're having fun.
Defense?
This is how you have fun.
Yes.
Listen, everyone who does a show in the morning is how you have fun.
That's what you do.
Laugh a little, smile a little, have fun. You're doing sports radio for a living.
Don't plan for things. Push next. When in doubt, just push next question.
The best of Mike and Mike.
It is Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Stugotz Mike Golic Jr. filling in for Greedy and Golic. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Albert Breer going to join us in just a minute here on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Talk some NFL football with him. I have requested here the gentleman, for those of you just joining us, Hembo went to get his normal breakfast.
Whoa.
He asked for oatmeal. He got cold tomato sauce with a side of raisins. And I have requested the guy from the cafeteria to come on the show. The guy who made this egregious mistake and gave Hembo the wrong breakfast. I want him on the show. I want to talk to him about it. And by the way, he better not get in trouble.
No.
He better not get in trouble.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Make this very clear. Hembo, are you upset about this at all? It looked like you actually kind of enjoyed that.
Not in the slightest. My stomach is a bit sore.
Okay.
But I'm $100 richer.
That is true.
He's got $100 in his pocket.
Made money. But, yeah, to your point, no one should get in trouble with this. But we do have controversy.
Oh, we do.
Because I'm wondering, see if you can find the Law and here, play with the board. There's a Law and Order done somewhere on that board. Oh, okay, never mind.
Man, why are those guys hitting it, man?
Just hit something else to punish them.
All right, hold on.
There you go. Yeah.
Is this what you're looking for?
Yeah, I know you. Why do you guys always got to do that? My parents' sex music, you freaks.
Is that their actual...
I mean, I don't know. I hope not. Like I'm.
You know what? That was a very odd question for me to ask. If you actually knew what their song was in the bedroom, that would be. I'm sorry for asking that question.
No, yeah, I mean, that's your parents, too, so that's kind of messed up that you would even want to go down that road. But it's been, like, enough of that. Like, you know, like, how damaging that's been to me mentally?
Right. I mean, when you were in the womb, you didn't hear this?
If I was in the womb, I hope not, because I was already there. Like, it would have been.
Yeah, but they could.
It would have been pre-me hearing.
Very good point. All right, so what's the sound that you're looking for? It's not this?
It can be, yeah.
How about this?
Ooh, yeah, uh-huh.
What are you looking for? I forgot. I've totally lost my...
No, just keep hitting
that.
buttons.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, no, because there's a
All
controversy
right, go ahead.
in all this. So on the Mike and Mike staff, they get their breakfast delivered here. That hasn't trickled down to first and last yet. I'm here earlier.
Yeah.
By myself. It's just me and Danny Z's over there.
Right. That's the show you do every day?
Yeah, it's the show I do every day.
Right.
That no one really, you included, pay attention to. But
right. Mike, it's at 4 in the morning.
All right. So anyway, we don't get breakfast delivered. They get breakfast delivered here. And we found out that it's actually really difficult to ever change your order. Like, this is something that you basically, once you lock your order in, it's there for like the next couple of months, and it is really difficult to change. So Hembo's order has been the same for a while, which leads me to believe that someone's got it out for Hembo. Like, someone actually went out here and tried to sabotage.
His girlfriend has the power to change it, though.
What do you mean that's false? What do you mean that's false?
What, she doesn't own you? She
That
doesn't
is
govern
false.
you?
Well, that is
She doesn't
true.
make the rules for you? Are you willing to say that on air, that you wear the pants in that?
I am not.
Okay.
You're not. You're not willing to say that on air.
I hope not.
Well, Hembo, is this the one? Is your girlfriend? Is she the one?
That's a very challenging question.
You guys
to
Well,
ask
I don't
anyone.
care. I'm asking you the question.
Do you
so
guys
please
say I
answer.
love you?
Yeah.
I hope so. We do.
You do.
Oh,
You
wow,
say I love
congrats.
you. How long have you been dating her?
Over a year.
How old are you?
I'm 27.
You're 27.
I am.
Do you think maybe, perhaps, this is?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Take your time.
I'll keep that in mind.
Just think about it.
I mean, she could be the one, and
She
that's
could.
fine. And what I'm telling you is, don't ask her the big question. Don't pop the question for at least another 5 years.
Have you been thinking about that?
Now, is Stugotz the person I should be seeking relationship advice from? Is
Yes,
my
I am,
question.
actually. Yes.
Okay.
Stugotz, the same person who on air with me said that after his first date, what did you do after your first date with your now wife, Abby, the love of your life, the mother of your children?
I went to a
after your
strip
very
club.
first date? Say it again.
I went to a strip club.
After your first date.
After my first date. Well, because, listen, it was the first date, okay? And I realized right then and there that this was the one. And I realized the days of going to the strip club were numbered. And what she did on the first date is we had a very nice dinner. And then we went to a bar right across the street. And I got a little kiss. And that kiss was enough. And then because she's, she's not the type that will do that on the first date. She went home, she went her way, and I went my way. And she went to her house, and my way was to a strip club. And that's where I went. So, because I knew the days were numbered that I would go to a strip club. And then when I was done with the strip club, I went home. I don't know why I did this. I smelled so bad, but I've told you this before. I doused myself in gasoline. Because the smell from the strip club was just so horrendous that I felt the need to do it. I don't know why.
Glitter's got a strange odor like that. It sticks with you.
It's weird,
It
right?
finds its way into all the crevices.
Yes. So, Hembo, 5 more years. That's.
But I'd preferred if you gave me 100 ones instead of just a $100 bill. Given this backstory.
That would have worked better, yeah.
Honestly, with Stugotz, too, like, I don't know if we can put this on the poll, but are Stugotz's strip club days really numbered? Because I don't believe that either.
No, they're not. Right after the show.
When's your last time?
Last night. Albert Breer, the MMQB.com, is ready to join us here on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. I'm sorry that you had to walk into this, Albert. My apologies, but good morning to you, and thank you for the time.
No, I'm always up for some good strip club talk. If you guys want to do that instead of talking NFL, I'm game.
All right, go ahead, man. Give me your strip club story. Go ahead. Have at it.
Oh, well, I think you find out a lot about your friends and their preferences in strip clubs, and so just I have a couple friends who I found out a lot about in strip clubs, and I'll leave it at that. I hope they're listening so they can hear that, and they're probably scared to death now. But
all right.
I found out that they've got certain preferences that I wasn't aware of until I got them in that environment.
Yeah, I got to tell you something. Your analysis, it's better than your NFL analysis, which is great. But your strip club analysis is amazing because you are dead on. You will learn a lot about your friends, things you never knew about them when you hang out with them for a couple hours at the strip club.
Glitter and perfume is truth serum. It is
Hey,
true.
hey, there's no more honest place than the strip club, right?
No, there is no. That is exactly right. Albert Breer, the MMQB.com, joining us here on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Give me, Albert, the transaction over the weekend. Brock Osweiler to the Broncos. Anything that happened that surprised you the most?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, I think Brock Osweiler going back to the Broncos made sense just because they have experience with them. They need a short-term guy, somebody who could just kind of fill a role for a month for them, and they could get him for next to nothing because the Browns were going to pay most of the freight either way, and so that one made sense. You know, I think the flurry of trades is a little surprising. And maybe the one that really sticks out among those, because it's a player-for-player trade, because most of the trades you'll see cut down weekend are basically a team saying, okay, we're going to cut this guy anyway, and, you know, another team saying, oh, well, don't expose him to waivers, just give him to us for a seventh-round pick. So the one that really stuck out among those had to be, you know, the Jacoby Brissett for Philip Dorsett trade. You know, I think the Patriots are scrambling a little bit, having lost Julian Edelman, because he fills so many different roles for them. And so you bring Dorsett in and you see what he can do. You know, I think the flip side of it is, you know, that they have, you know, that the Colts are going and bringing in a backup quarterback and actually investing in that position. And both teams are giving up on fairly high draft picks after 2 years. So I would say that one sticks out. And then the other one that's kind of an ongoing theme. How many teams are giving up on offensive linemen quickly, you know? And I know Golic can speak to this, but I think the NFL has got an offensive line crisis, and we saw it with a couple of 2015 first-round picks getting dealt over the weekend. You know, it's that there are lots of teams out there, the Vikings, the Panthers, the Broncos, where you can see the Bengals. You can say their seasons really swing on whether or not, you know, their offensive line situations work out. And you see the issues NFL teams are having in drafting and developing offensive linemen with a couple of the former first-rounders. Cam Irving was one of them that got traded over the weekend.
Talking to Albert Breer on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and I'd agree, one team that doesn't have those issues, the Dallas Cowboys, but waiting to find out what's going to happen with Ezekiel Elliott's appeal. What do you anticipate at this point in time? What do the Cowboys need to be prepared for with this?
Well, I think when Zeke decided that he was willing to press the nuclear button here and take this thing to court, the likelihood became that he's going to play in 2017 and that he's got a good chance to play 17 or 16 games in 2017. And so, you know, the key word is now temporary restraining order. Can he get the temporary restraining order granted by the court in Dallas? And if he can get that, then he's in really good shape because, you know, we know how long these things take as they snake through the courts. He's going to have to prove two things to do that. One, he's going to have to prove that he'd suffer irreparable harm, which I think will be fairly easy for him to do if he serves a suspension. And then the second thing is that he's got a reasonable chance to win. And that's where the Brady case kind of comes in, you know, because I think the argument against him having a reasonable chance to win is that, you know, the ruling in the Brady case set precedent that the commissioner's got broad powers in these cases. And so that's kind of the uphill climb. But if he can get that temporary restraining order in the court down in Texas, then, you know, chances are that no matter which way Harold Henderson rules here, he'll have a good chance of playing 16 games in 2017.
All right, Albert, I want to stay right here for a second with Zeke Elliott. When do you expect that we'll get Harold Henderson's ruling on the appeal?
I think today or tomorrow, in all likelihood. They want an answer. And, you know, I think part of this, you can go back to the Brady case with this one, too. Part of this is going to be whether or not Zeke's willing to pull the lawsuit. And I don't have any indication that he's willing to pull the lawsuit. You know, I think this is one of those cases where the league would say, well, if you assume some guilt and not go to court with this, then, you know, we'll show a willingness to cut down that suspension a little bit. I don't expect that's going to happen. I could see maybe a conditional reduction of the suspension. You know, but right now with Zeke having filed the lawsuit, it seems like this thing isn't going to be over in the next couple of days unless Harold Henderson decides to vacate the penalty altogether.
All right, and what do you make if all the reporting on this is accurate, if it's true, Albert? What do you make of the fact that the NFL has someone appointed to do investigations on matters like this, and they did a 13-month investigation, and the lead investigator said, I recommend 0 games, and somehow Roger Goodell gave Zeke Elliott 6 games. What do you make of all that?
It's an awful look. It's
Yeah.
a really, really bad look, you know, and that they had 2 investigators in Kia Roberts and Lisa Friel, and they decided, and in this case, to ignore the recommendation of one of them. Now, I will say the league's maintained steadfastly, and I've talked to guys over there, that her findings weren't kept from the commissioner, and they weren't kept out of the decision-making process, and they weren't kept from the group that was recommending or that was counseling Goodell on discipline. But I mean, look, the bottom line is if in a case as delicate as this one, right, where if you're going to stick that label on a player, if you're going to put that scarlet letter on a player, it's going to be almost impossible for him to get it off, right? Like domestic abuse is one of those things that it's just if you're guilty of it, it follows you for the rest of your life. And there was someone in this case who said there should be zero penalty and that there wasn't enough evidence here. And you went ahead and suspended him for 6 games anyway. It's at the very least a bad look, and it leaves some questions to be answered.
Talking to Albert Breer of the MMQB.com. Switching gears a little bit, but still something that's off the field-ish. Sua Cravens and the Washington Redskins, how concerned are they about his future going into this season after what we heard over the weekend were plans of his that he told his teammates to retire?
You know what? It's you go back to last year, and these problems were there last year. In fact, one of the flashpoints in the dispute and the problems between Scott McCloughan and Bruce Allen that led to McCloughan being out of there, Sua had a biceps injury in December that they initially thought was torn, and then they figured out, it's just a bruise. And he was very slow coming back from that, to the point where some of his teammates were saying, what the hell is going on here? And that kind of became a flashpoint because Scott wound up calling Sua and said, where are you? And then he didn't show up for a treatment. There have been all kinds of weird things that have happened with Sua over the course of the last year and a half. He's a different kind of guy. I know that there were some questions when he was coming out of USC. Does he like playing football, or does he just like everything that goes along with being a football player? And so, when something like this happens on the doorstep of the season, a lot of those questions are going to come up again. Does he really want to play football? Is this something that he sees himself doing for the next 5 or 10 or 15 years? And that to me is the main reason why the Redskins are now giving him time and saying, we want you back, but you need to think about this. And this can't be a 1 or 2 week decision. This has to be a decision that you're making. Do I want to do this as a career? And I think that most of the people who've been around him over the last year and a half would tell you that if you ask Sua Cravens and he's being honest about it, he may not be sure if he really wants to do football as a career, which is why he's where he is now.
Albert Breer with us here on Mike and Mike on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Check out his work at the MMQB.com. He's fantastic. What are you hearing about Andrew Luck? When is he going to be back for the Colts?
This is a 10-year thing for them. I know that sounds weird, but, I've talked to the general manager there, Chris Ballard, about this a bunch over the last couple of months. And one of the things that he's maintained and other people in the organization have maintained is that they're not going to rush him in any way. Until he's 100%, he's not going back out in the field. This is similar to when, Drew Brees was coming back from his shoulder issue in 2006, and I think that situation shows that if you do it right, it really can be a long-term fix. Cam Newton's going through something similar now, and it's one of those things where different guys have different timetables coming back. And so, I think for the Colts, the main thing here is not finding a way to get him ready for week 1 or week 3 or week 5. It's making sure that he's going to be good to go in 2019 and 2020 and 2021, and that this really is a long-term fix for a problem that, guys, by the way, he's been dealing with for the last 2 years. And so, look, the Colts aren't going to admit this publicly, but this is very much a transitional year. They've turned over a lot of their starting lineup. Their defense looks completely different in the front seven. They knew there were going to be some bumps this year. And so if you just look at it from a logical standpoint, the future of the franchise riding on this guy the way that it is, and the fact that they are in that sort of, and I'm not going to use the word rebuilding, but that transitional type of year, it makes all the sense in the world for them to wait and be as cautious as they possibly can and just try to ride out the first few weeks of the season with Scott Tolzien if they have to.
Albert, before we let you go, we just got one more important question. It's really been weighing on our minds all morning on this show. Is Tom Brady on the rise?
You can make the argument that he is.
You know what's interesting about that question, though, is like when I was out at their camp, right? So I think one of the real intriguing things to watch, because I think the most underrated storyline of the NFL season was the Patriots holding on to Jimmy Garoppolo based on what they could have gotten for him. Like that to me tells me the door's open to this being Tom Brady's last year in New England, because Garoppolo's up after this year too, And so you're going to have to make a decision at some point. And so I thought one of the most intriguing things to watch when you went out to Foxborough this summer was, what's the gap look like between those two? As Jimmy Garoppolo closed the gap? And I think Jimmy's going to be a good quarterback, but I can tell you the answer to that question is no. The gap has not been closed. And I think in a certain way, the whole Jimmy Garoppolo's presence, the fact that they spent a high draft pick on him, the fact that they've held on to him into the last year of his rookie contract, it feels to me a little bit like that's almost lit another fire under Tom Brady, where you've seen him, and I'm not saying that this makes a huge difference on game day, but on the practice field, it's almost like he has this other gear now. And I know that sounds crazy because he's 40 years old. But I'm just telling you, like, I was one of those guys who was under the impression, and I've been around him for a long time, 5-6 years ago, that, maybe he'd get past Montana, that would secure his legacy, and he'd walk away. I no longer think that has anything to do with his motivation. I think he just loves it so much. He just can't imagine a day of his life not being a professional football player now, and he'll do anything to hold on to it. And I think you've seen that with that gap that he's maintained between him and Garoppolo and the way that they practice and have practiced over the last few weeks. And I think the result of it, health permitting, is that we're going to see the same Tom Brady in 2017 that we saw in 2017, despite what precedent would tell you about age and quarterbacks.
So, yes, he's on the rise.
I don't know about rise, but, I mean, I'm maintaining it at 40. I'll tell you what, we all know what happened to Brett Favre at 40. We know what happened to Peyton Manning at 39. And I guess that cliff could be there, and Brady could fall off of it. Right. But if what we've seen this summer is any indication, and what he looked like in that Lions preseason game is any indication, it doesn't look like he's slipping much.
Sounds like he's on the rise.
Yeah, it does. All right, I want to play something for you. I want to play Ed Orgeron. I'm going to ask you to do something here, and hopefully you'll do it for us, okay? Here's
Love
Ed.
Coach O.
You like Coach O? Okay, so you know the
Love
sound,
Coach
his cadence. Right, I maintain that his voice, no one's voice, no coach's voice matches the region, the city that he coaches in more so than Ed Orgeron. Here is Ed's voice.
They're tough defense. It's hard to run the ball against them. They're playing tough coverage on us. We have to protect the quarterback, take care of the football down here. It's going to be a tough game.
Now, I am pleased to announce that when it's 27-0, and that was the case with LSU over the weekend, that ESPN's broadcast professionals, their broadcast team, in particular, Allison Williams, sideline reporter, she starts imitating, because they're bored and they have to fill time, she starts imitating Ed Orgeron. Here you go.
Well, first of all, there's no pocket square. You know the best play football in there, bro. Don't you? That fumble, play football in there, bro.
There is guys. Go to the movies with Derry, and he's sitting next to me and my wife, and I can't get a word in there. I can't watch the movie because Derry just keep on talking.
All right, guys, here we go. We're going to have one team, one heartbeat right there. We're going to play for each other. We're going to have each other's back. We're going to win this ball game. One team, one heartbeat. Here we go. Go Tigers.
God, I hope he didn't hear that. He was awfully close for that.
I think he's got other things on his mind.
Allison, you got some Cajun in you? That was amazing.
It's more about the gravel in the voice, right?
Gotta get real low. One team, one heartbeat, guys. That's how we're gonna play. That's how we're gonna win this ball game.
All right, Albert, so I'm going to ask you here. I'm going to ask you one final question here, and I'm just wondering, and if you can't do it, then I'm not going to ask the question, okay? But I'm wondering, if I ask this question, can you answer it in your best Ed Orgeron voice?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question, fellas. I'm not sure exactly where you're going with this, but I'm not as good at that as Allison, I don't think.
No, you're excellent at it. I just want to know, in that voice, in that exact
was
voice.
That all right?
Yeah, no, that was great. It was fantastic. It was. You want to hear Golic do it real quick? Because I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to answer it in Ed Orgeron's voice. Golic, go do it real quick.
I'm going to ask you a question real quick. I'm going to ask you a question, and we just need to answer in your best Ed Orgeron prayer, okay? You got to go Tiger.
Okay, that's how you do it. You got it, Albert? Yours is fine. Golic's is better. You can get there, okay? I want you to answer in Ed Orgeron's voice. What were the Jets thinking trading Sheldon Richardson to the Seattle Seahawks?
Well, I think that the idea here is to go 1-15 or 0-16, so they can get that boy from UCLA or USC or maybe even Wyoming into New Jersey next year to be their next quarterback.
Oh, you were fantastic. I am telling you, the next time I see you, yes, it was good.
Bravo, sir.
The next time I see you,
I guess that means I watched The Waterboy enough, right?
Exactly. The next time I see you will be the first time I see you, and I'm telling you, strip club on me. Okay, drinks are on me. You got it?
No comment.
Okay.
We'll see you there, Albert.
Thank you, Albert. We appreciate it.
All
Check
right,
out his
guys.
work, the mmqb.com. Albert, we appreciate the time this morning.
First time skydiving? Sure is. Okay, you just open the door like this and you jump. Oh, wait. Should we be like in tandem? Tandem? That's a great idea. Are you a certified instructor? No, but I love parachutes and I love people. Here we go.
You wouldn't take chances with an uncertified skydiving instructor. Don't do it with your finances. Find a certified financial planner professional today at letsmakeaplan.org. CFP. Work with the highest standard.
It is Mike and Mike here on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Stugotz Mike Golic Jr. filling in for Greedy and Golic. The guys will be back tomorrow. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike, it is time for Straight Talk. It is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Before we get to, so we have a bit on our show. Mike and I do weekend observations.
7 to 9 a.m. Sunday.
7 to 9 a.m. Sunday on ESPN Radio, coast to coast. We are the first voices you hear on Sunday, which is frightening for this entire network. But we are. And before I get to that, I just want to check in with Hembo. Because if you're just joining us, Hembo went to get his traditional normal breakfast, and which is oatmeal with raisins, and he got a cup in which he thought oatmeal was in it. He got a side of raisins. When he got back here, he opened up that cup, and it was cold tomato sauce. And so Hembo ate it on the air when we were playing Next Question. I would say he downed that in about 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, no, it was pretty quick. There were at least 3 dozen raisins in there.
Yes. And so Hembo ate it. I gave him $100. He ate it. How are you feeling?
My stomach is like swirling a little bit. It feels like I've swallowed something live.
Right.
But the new warm oatmeal that I've received is helping that a lot.
So now you're putting oatmeal on top of the tomato sauce raisins.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted the oatmeal and raisins in there somehow. So This is how it's happening.
All right. Do you think, potential for you to throw up later today, or what are you thinking here?
At this point, it's unlikely. I think it would have happened already.
Okay.
But I don't plan on doing anything quickly.
So we have to wait
a
day for the results of this.
I'd say so,
right.
but I feel pretty safe about it.
What were you planning to do today? You just said I don't plan to do anything quickly. No, no quick movements, none of that. What were you planning to do today?
I had nothing going on today. Maybe do a quick run around the neighborhood, check out the Labor Day parties going around in Plainville. But
yeah,
I'm probably
there you go. Yeah,
that won't be happening.
You and the girlfriend not going to go.
That won't be
home
happening.
Work off all those marinara raisins.
Marinara raisins.
Yeah.
So many raisin jokes. I'm not going to do it. I'm not.
No, we wouldn't do that.
Do it.
Not us.
I mean, if you heard the conversation we're having off air during the break, I'm not going to do it, though, Brooks. I'm not going to do it. I trust you with my life. Not going to do it. Brooks, I'm not going to do it.
Not going to happen.
Brooks thinks I'm totally going to do it.
Listen, we're not going to do it, though.
Yes. But I'm going to do this, all right? Because Mike and I do a show, Weekend Observations, Sunday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern, coast to coast, ESPN Radio. And Mike Golic Jr.'s brother, Jake Golic, got married over the summer. And I marveled at this. Mike Golic Jr. was the best man at the wedding, and he delivered a best man speech. And I saw Mike Golic Jr. in a whole new light. I mean, emotional, and it was beautiful. It really was. I get goosebumps every single time I listen to it. And he delivered a beautiful best man speech at Jake's wedding. And so the first time we played it on our show, we decided it would be funny to have some other people kind of voice the best man speech. The debate going on right now is Mike and I, we find this to be funny. The producers of this show, Stanzik, Brooks, who I love, they don't think it's funny. We think it's funny. So we're going to play this for you, and I don't care. If it falls flat and it's not funny, I don't care. We'll make fun of ourselves, and that's how we roll around here. It's fine. I'm not going to be thrown off by it. We need to get down. We need to get to the bottom, Mike, as to whether or not this is funny or not, because you and I find it funny, but sometimes when you're in it and you're so close to it, you might find it funnier than other people do. You know what I'm saying?
I'm interested in what the reaction is going to be because this has gotten good reaction.
Yes.
Now it's from our audience on Sunday, and maybe they're more predisposed to liking what we do. But I like to think that we know what's funny. We come up with some pretty funny stuff consistently on the weekends.
Right.
A lot of it's similar humor-wise to what you and Dan do on the Dan Le Batard Show, who also I like to think knows funny pretty well.
Yes. Yeah. So, and my producers have told me that it's funny. Now, Brooks and Stanzik, who produce Mike and Mike on a daily basis, they don't find it funny because we all know Mike and Mike is all about being funny. So we're going to play this first. Now, I could be wrong. And I have a feeling I'm going to be wrong here.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't think this audience is prepared for this. Let's play Mike Golic Jr.'s a portion of his best man speech that he delivered at his brother Jake's wedding.
Jenny, you're good for my brother in so many ways, and you make him happy in a way that I have never seen before, and I know we will never have to worry about seeing again. You will make an unbelievable little sister to me. You'll make an unbelievable sister to my sister, and I've spent my life judging people on how they treat my family and how they make the people that I love feel, and you make all of them so happy and so full of love that I think this is going to work out just fine. So, Jake, I have been your older brother for going on 28 years now, and somehow the entire time I've looked up to you.
All right, so we all we all laughed at the same part. It's that dramatic pause. The dramatic pause is, I don't know if GoJo meant it or not, but you sold that dramatic pause. I mean, you sold it, and that's what made the entire speech.
I'm just going to tell you, I've seen a lot of best man speeches before that, and I always knew if you want to win the crowd over, you got to cry a little bit. So I knew I was like a great actor. I knew what I had to do to get myself there. That's half the battle.
Now, Jake's face is great. For those of you watching on TV, you saw it. For those of you, that's the first time I saw it. For those of you listening on the radio, you did not see it, but it's the kind of face you make like he's telling his brother to be a man. That's essentially what he's saying. I don't feel like he's really emotional. He's telling you to kind of butch up there.
No, yeah, he's a little thrown off.
Sappy, yeah.
Yep. No.
So I know what the audience is thinking. It was a great, passionate, emotional best man speech with a really dramatic pause. I know what you're thinking. You want to hear Mel Kiper Jr. deliver that same speech.
Jenny, you're good for my brother in so many ways, and you make him happy in a way I've never seen before, and I know we will never have to worry about seeing again. You will make an unbelievable little sister to me. You will make an unbelievable sister to my sister. I've spent my entire life judging people on how they treat my family and how they make the people I love feel, and you make all of them, every one of them, so happy and so full of love that I think this is going to work out just fine. So, Jacob, I've been your older brother going on 28 years now, and somehow the entire time, Jake, I've found myself looking up to you.
Brooks reports back to me pretty quiet in the control room, and I'm telling you out here, everyone's laughing, Brooks. So
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
early returns.
We're just going to let the audience. We'll let the audience decide. Now I know what you're thinking. You want to hear probably the most credible voice we have at ESPN, Jeremy Schaap, deliver that same speech.
Jenny, you're good for my brother in so many ways. You make him happy in a way I've never seen before. I know we'll never have to worry about seeing again. You will make an unbelievable little sister to me. You will make an unbelievable sister to my sister. I've spent my life judging people and how they treat my family and how they make the people I love feel. You make all of them so happy and so full of love that I think this is going to work out just fine. So, Jake, I've been your older brother going on 28 years now. And somehow the entire time, I've looked up to you.
Hey, you know what? I'm willing to call the fight right here. Now, sir, put it on the poll.
Yes. Put it on the poll. Yes, Mike.
Put it on the poll.
Yes. Thank
funny
you.
or not funny?
Yes.
I think we got the answer in here. This entire studio's in tears.
Yes.
We've heard it before, and we're in tears again.
Correct.
The best of Mike and Mike.
All right, let's bring on our buddy Booger McFarland. He's our ESPN college football analyst, also a friend of mine, a friend of the show. Booger joins us right now on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Booger, let's start here. Is Tom Brady on the rise?
Well, I don't know if Tom Brady can rise any higher, guys. I mean, he's already won 5 Super Bowls, and he's married to Giselle. Like, how high can he get?
Higher.
I mean, I'm just curious. Okay, where's higher at, though?
No, but we're just saying, like, it's actually a poll question that we've been debating today because you could actually make the argument at the age of 40, Tom Brady playing the position of quarterback better than he's ever played it. And so we were actually having some fun, but also kind of a serious debate as to whether or not he's on the rise.
Well, I wouldn't say he's on the rise. I would have to say he's steady Eddie. Like, he's climbed to 35,000 feet, and the captain has come on and said we're at our cruising altitude. I think that's where Tom Brady is right now. He's cruising through life, waking up every morning. When he opens his eyes, he sees Giselle. Life is pretty good.
Wow, this just in. Booger McFarland, ESPN college football analyst, saying Tom Brady's plateaued. It's the best it'll ever be. Hot take alert. Booger McFarland.
I love it.
Booger McFarland joining us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. All right, Booger, this weekend, the big game of the night, Alabama, Florida State. Coming off this game, we've seen now DeAndre Francois is going to be out for the year. Is there any hope in your mind for Florida State in what's going to be a highly contested ACC this year?
Well, I think there's some hope, but Jimbo's going to have to change his philosophy. If you notice in the game, they threw the ball a ton. And I thought that was the way to beat Alabama, even though Jimbo threw it a little too much. They're going to have to run the football a little bit more. They got a young freshman, Cam Akers, who was the best running back in high school last year, even though he played quarterback. They're going to have to utilize him more because the quarterback they're going to go to is a true freshman. And you know, just like I know, true freshmen, their snotty nose, their breath still smells like Similac, like they're really not ready to go. And so you're going to have to kind of bring them along slowly. And how do you do that? You got to run the football. So I don't think they're done, but their hopes are definitely a lot more drastically decreased than they were before the game.
Booger, we were discussing earlier. Do you think there's a chance maybe because it seems like the argument that you get against the NBA is you know who's going to play in the finals. This year we know it's going to be, barring injury, going to be the Warriors and the Cavaliers. Do you think there's some Alabama fatigue? Because it seems like, and it is the case every year, that they're in the Final Four. Do you think potentially we'll see some Alabama fatigue here where people just start getting tired of Nick Saban and that program?
No, I don't, because if you're tired of them, just try to beat them. And I think Dabo Swinney took that challenge on. And the last 2 years, you can make an argument that Dabo could have beat them 2 years in a row. They did split with them and get one national championship. I think there are about 4 or 5 teams in the country, Stugotz, that from a talent level standpoint, they're on the same talent level. We saw one of them in Florida State. It was a 10-7 game at halftime. And if they don't make mistakes, Florida State is right there with Alabama. Ohio State, Clemson, those teams are right there on par with Alabama. And so I think when you start looking at the landscape of college football, I don't think it's like the NBA. I think it's like there are 4 or 5 teams, much like in the NFL. If I gave you 4 or 5 teams in the NFL, I think everyone feels like that we could pick the NFL champion. It's the same way in college, unlike the NBA, which really comes down to really 2 or 3.
What does a team, Booger, like Penn State have to do to get themselves in that conversation? Your Big Ten champions from last year, one that pretty easy opening weekend matchup against Akron, but Saquon Barkley looks good. You bring back Trace McSorley. What is the ceiling like for this team?
Well, I think the ceiling is high. I was going to say the ceiling is the roof, but we don't know where the roof is right now. So, what I'll say is that Penn State has the best player in the country in Saquon Barkley. You've heard it before, and I'll echo it. He's phenomenal. He can return kicks. He can catch it out of the backfield. And as a running back, if he's not the first running back taken when he comes out, somebody's really, really missing the boat when they watch film. As far as Penn State overall, Penn State's got to figure out a way to navigate through the Big Ten, guys. I think last year they won the Big Ten championship and didn't get into the college football playoff in large because they didn't play well against Michigan and Pittsburgh. So now, how does that change this year? They're going to have to figure out a way to get through that Big Ten, win a Big Ten championship, and hopefully that'll be enough to get them into the college football playoff. They're good enough. I don't think they're on par with Bama, Ohio State, Clemson, Florida State from a talent level, but I do think overall if the ball bounces their way, they can get into the college football playoff by winning the Big Ten, and then they have as good a chance as anyone else.
Booger, over the weekend we saw a lot of close games for some of the highest-ranked teams. USC, noteworthy, their game against Western Michigan. Are there any results from teams that are college football playoff contenders preseason that worried you enough to change your opinion?
No, man, it's early, man. It's week one. It's kind of like when you guys started the show at 6 a.m. this morning, I mean, Stugotz was probably foaming at the mouth. You were probably half asleep. So you're better in hour 4 than you are in hour 1.
We've gotten worse. No, I got to be honest with you, but we've gotten worse as the show's gone on. We peaked at around 8:30 this morning.
That's really not a good thing. And I pray for Himbo. I heard Himbo eat the marinara and raisins. I wouldn't have done it, Himbo, so I'm praying for you. Hope your stomach holds up. But, when you start to look at where we are right now as far as the college football playoff, I do think overall that, we're in a very, very good position. I think if you're Florida State, if you're Clemson, if you're Alabama, if you're Ohio State, like if you're one of those teams, you feel pretty good about where you are right now. I'm not playing much into week one. Week one is week one. Those teams will get better. I think Florida State is really the only team that kind of feels worse today, not only because they lost, but they lost their quarterback. If they would have lost the game and kept their quarterback, I think they would still be in a decent position to get into the playoffs. So overall, no harm, no foul, week one. It was a great weekend of college football, unless you're Kevin Sumlin and unless you're Tom Herman.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, how does Texas feel today? How's Tom Herman feeling today?
Well, Tom Herman should feel bad because, quiet as it's kept, he's been telling a lot of people that he feels like he could go 10-2. He feels like that the talent level was still there. As a matter of fact, Charlie Strong, on his way after getting fired from Texas, said the next coach should win 10 games. And when I watched Texas play on Saturday, guys, here's what I saw. I saw a team with an offense that scored a few points, a defense that was terrible, and a kicking game that was abysmal. Well, go back to 2016. What did we see in 2016? An offense that could score a few points, a defense that was terrible, and a kicking game that was abysmal. So, Golic, what changed between 2016 and 2017? That's why if you're Tom Herman, I think you should feel embarrassed because you had an entire offseason, and what we saw was the exact same thing that we saw in 2016. So if I'm Texas, an alumni, whether you're Red McCombs or you're on the board, I would be a bit concerned because I didn't see any improvement from 2016 to 2017. Now, am I ready to fire Tom Herman? By no means at all. But I am concerned that I didn't see any improvement from year one, from 2016 to 2017.
I got to tell you, it's a great move by Charlie Strong on the way out. Raise the expectations on your way out of the door to completely undercut the next guy after stacking the deck with recruits. That's really a tip of the cap to Charlie Strong.
It's such a boss move, is it not, Booger? Just to raise the expectations on your way out? It's a boss move, man.
Well, it's the truth because Charlie Strong recruited well, guys. And whether or not you think he was given an unfair shake, that's kind of up to you. He cleaned the program up and he recruited well. So if you're coming in, a lot of people expected Tom Herman to kind of be in the situation that Urban was in after Ron Zook left. Ron Zook recruited all the talent, then Urban comes in and wins. A lot of people expected for Tom to come in and do the same, and it got off to a rather disappointing start on Saturday.
Breer McFarland with us here on ESPN Radio, ESPN college football analyst. Saw you last night sweating on that field. Give me the sweat level on the field last night because I'm telling you at halftime, man, it was thick and it was deep, Booger.
Well, here's what I go by when I look at the sweat level. I can feel the beads of sweat coming. Right. I'm okay with the beads of sweat. It's when the sweat actually starts dripping into a roll that I get concerned because as a bald-headed guy, and Stugotz, you know about this when you went Paul Feinbaum.
Yes, I do.
As a bald-headed guy, you're more apt to sweat than a guy with hair. Golic, come on home. It's time for you to come on home, by the way. So I wasn't necessarily concerned, Stugotz, because it never got to a point where it was dripping. It was just beating up, and as my daughter said, I was glistening.
I like that. I love that. When did she say that? Like she texted that? How did you receive that information?
Well, because after halftime, the kids stayed up late because they don't have any school today. So I called and kind of tucked them in, and she told me.
The kids, they're always there for you, right, Booger? They're always there to humble you, right?
I mean, humble you and tell you, hey, why'd you pick Florida State? That was dumb.
I love that.
I just appreciate the free advice from Booger. You're always there for me. That's why I appreciate your advice in the hair department. I can trust you on this.
Hey, man, come on home. But listen, Bomani's been telling you. Yeah. I'm going to tell you, it's time to come on home. When your hairline starts to touch the top of your head, not the front, but the top, that's when it's time to come on home.
Yeah, it's been time for about a year and a half now, if that's the case, so I don't know why I've been fighting this.
Man, just cave in already.
Yeah, no, I'm going to, and I'm also going to deflect because that's what I'm best at. Booger, head coach at your alma mater, LSU, Ed Orgeron, been in the news for a while, but more importantly because everyone during the broadcast this Saturday night decided to do really good Ed Orgeron impressions, including Allison Williams, sideline reporter, did an incredible impression. Do you have an Ed Orgeron impression in the repertoire?
No, I'm not very good at being Cajun. I'm a country boy from Louisiana that grew up in the backwoods, walking outside barefooted. So doing Cajun is not something that is, very conducive to my personality. Let me say it that way.
Did you hear the guys doing it and Allison doing it on the broadcast?
Yes, I was more impressed, not by Allison's impersonation, but by Allison doing it so close to Coach O. That took a lot of stones to do that right there.
No doubt about it. In fact, guys, if we have the, since we're talking about it and the audience might want to hear it, here is it Bob Wischusen, Brock Berlin? Who was it?
Brock Eward.
Brock Berlin, the former Canes quarterback. Brock Eward.
Wow.
Bob Wischusen. Remember Brock Berlin? That's a funny name, man. Brock Eward, Bob Wischusen, and Allison Williams. It's 27-0. I want more of this, okay? I want more of this when we're doing games here at ESPN. It's 27-0. There's nothing to talk about. They're bored, so they fill the time by doing this.
Well, first of all, there's no pocket square. You know the best play football in there, Brock, don't you? That fumble, best play football in there, Brock.
Darius got it. Go to the movies with Darius, and he's sitting next to me and my wife, and I can't get a word in edgewise. I can't watch the movie because Darius just keep on talking.
All right, guys, here we go. We're going to have one team, one heartbeat. All right, now we're going to play for each other. We're going to have each other's back. We're going to win this ball game. One team, one heartbeat. Here we go. Go Tigers.
God, I hope he didn't hear that. He was awfully close for that.
I think he's got other things on his mind.
Allison, you got some Cajun in you? That was amazing.
It's more about the gravel in the voice, right?
Gotta get real low. Gotta get real low. One team, one heartbeat, guys. That's how we're gonna play. That's how we're gonna win this ball game.
Allison, by far the best there, Booger. No, by far.
Well, yeah, like I said, I mean, just because she had the gall to do it right there, and I'm not sure where Allison's from, but she could pass for a Cajun Louisiana young lady.
I want you to try it, man. Can you? Because everyone on the
just a little bit. Booger.
Everyone on the show has tried it.
Listen.
No, listen. No, Booger, hold on. Booger, hold on. Hold on. Everyone take a deep breath and everyone relax.
Just calm down.
Just calm down. Golic's going to do a little of it for you so you can kind of hear it, maybe get it down, and then just kind of jump into the conversation, Booger. Just try it, okay? Just try it. What's your greatest fear? The only way to overcome your fear is to face your fear, okay? All right.
Well, if you want to be honest, my greatest fear is height and swimming. So I mean, I don't know if I can ever overcome those two right now.
All right. So this pales in comparison to those. Those are real fears.
This isn't the high dive,
right? This isn't the high. Exactly right. It's not the high dive. So Golic's going to give you a little sample of what this should feel like and sound like, and then we'll all do it together. How about that?
I can just read what's on the screen. Like, we got Booger McFarland here on the ESPN college football. And you can tune in for the college football action. And Jordan takes on Tennessee, presented by the Dr. Pepper.
All right, Booger, come on. Give it a little try.
Just a little bit, Booger.
A little bit, Booger. Come on, Booger. Come on, Booger.
One team, one heartbeat. That's the best I got.
You really are bad at it.
Yeah, that was bad.
I told you I'm terrible, dude.
We appreciate you trying, but yeah, don't do that in public anymore.
Oh, my God. Oh, that was terrible.
I mean, I told you that 5 minutes ago.
I know.
By the way, Stugotz.
Yo.
Here's a little advice. If you want to keep having your star rise, rename the show, as you said earlier, from Weekend Observations to the Stugotz Show, and just say featuring, and you could put Golic Jr. If he's not there, if he has a long bender on Saturday night, you could put whoever in that slot, but your name is still always first. I love that idea about you early this morning.
Wow, Booger actually listens to the show.
Thank you, Booger. I appreciate it. I'll take that in mind. I will keep that.
I was flying, and I had nothing else to do.
All right, well, I'm going to get rid of my agent and going to hire you. How's that sound? By the way, you're a big golfer. You're a great golfer. You and I are going to play golf at some point very soon here. Justin Thomas yesterday. Booger, it's by far, I don't care what anyone tells me, by far the most impressive thing in the world of sports over the weekend was Justin Thomas yesterday, fresh off winning his first major. He had 12 threes. He played 18 holes. 12 threes on his scorecard. Booger, most impressive thing over the sports weekend was that. Am I correct?
Absolutely. Listen, I marvel at those guys, especially Justin Thomas. When he was on, I believe it was 17 at Quail Hollow, when he hit a 7-iron, 225, I literally got up, went out in my backyard and pulled a 7-iron out, and I swung as hard as I could, and I tried to hit it over the neighbor's house because it probably would have been 225 yards, and I couldn't even get close.
Right.
And so I marveled at how far those guys hit the ball. By the way, Stugotz, ask Drew Brooks what happened the last time he and I played golf. I know he doesn't have a microphone, otherwise I'd bring him in.
Right.
It wasn't a good day for Drew Brooks.
Why, you beat him? I mean, you must have beat him.
He didn't
because
win.
I'm telling you, every time Brooks texts me and he's on the golf course, he's like 4 or 5 under par. And I haven't played with him yet, but he's claiming that.
He's shooting 68 every time, according to him.
Right. All right. So you beat him. All right. So I'm going to beat you, though, Booger. I'm telling you that right now. And if I beat you, you have to work on your Ed Orgeron impersonation, deliver a better one than you just did, because you completely ruined the segment. But I love you anyway.
We appreciate it.
Hey, where's Libertar when you need him? That's all I got to say right now.
No, where were you when I needed you? That was the question. That's the question. All right, get out of here, man. You had a busy weekend. I love you. I'll talk to you soon, all right?
Thanks, Booger.
Later, fellas. Anytime.
First time skydiving? Sure is. Okay, you just open the door like this and you jump. Wait. Should we be like in tandem? Tandem? That's a great idea. Are you a certified instructor? No, but I love parachutes and I love people. Here we go.
You wouldn't take chances with